So Jonathan, take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that introduction. So as I said, I'll just kind of, give a little bit background on, myself, the state of the art in the industry, microbiomes, why it's relevant for, athletes, the NBA and beyond, and consumer performance, and, excited. I've never had to follow an introduction from one of the greatest players of all time before, so this will be a fun presentation. So we'll get to that. But, I always start with the beginning, why this is relevant for me. This was me, I think, back in 2002 at the NCAA tournament. I was a former ball player myself. I played at St. John's for 4 years. I was actually a walk-on. My goal was actually to be an NBA basketball player. These are the odds, I didn't make the NBA, so my backup was getting a PhD in molecular biology. And that's essentially how I became a scientist. But I think, obviously I've always been ingrained in this, and here's another current, warrior, all-time great. But, if you look at these odds as a scientist, I'm a big believer in form fits function. I'm a big believer in natural selection. And I think if you look at these elite athletes and these super performers, question for me kind of comes down to, well, what makes them unique? What makes them somewhat like superheroes and performing at this optimal level? And what are the implications and applications if we could understand this and really sort of understand what makes them unique, not just from an athletic perspective, but just from a human health and wellness perspective. So these are some of the things that drive me. This is also something interesting, again, to ties to the NBA. This is years ago where ESPN did an article about sort of new technological innovations in the NBA to enhance player performance. And he made this statement: the holy grail is sequencing the genome, which is pretty, to me was like a light bulb moment and exciting as a way to bridge these two industries together, genomics, biotechnology, and athletics. I think we all know that human genome was first published in 2003, took 15 years and $3 billion to do. Now we could sequence a genome in a couple of days for $1,000 bucks. So tremendous acceleration in terms of our ability to decode biological information. Human genomes are sort of the past right now. I think for us, we're really excited about the microbiome. And, this is a community of microorganisms in and on our body. We have trillions of bacteria predominantly in our gut that's greatly influencing our health, our wellness, and our functionality. And you can imagine, if you have trillions of bacteria in your gut, all with their own personal genomes and functionalities, they're greatly going to influence our functionality, our development, and our well-being with applications for performance and things of that nature as well. So I'll just give a couple of backgrounds, slides about the microbiome and transitioning to this. Again, trillions of microorganisms in our gut. What do they do? Over the past decade, really since this genomics era has sort of unveiled itself, what we've understood and understand is that, these microorganisms greatly influence energy metabolism, protein metabolism, neurology, and immunology, basically anything you could think of from a holistic health and functional standpoint. I think from my background in biomedicine, the status quo is, let's look at sort of diseased phenotypes or populations. What doesn't work? Can we correct that to promote health? But I think an interesting opportunity, and what FitBiomics is taking an opposite approach. Let's look at the most fit people in the world. What does work in them? What's enriched helps them perform in an optimal manner? And for athletes, we think of, mental toughness, strength, recovery, endurance, and things of that nature. So again, how do all these microorganisms in our gut influence super performers, physiological demands? Can we learn from that? Can we decode that? Can we then translate that into nutritional modalities that benefit the masses? And here's just some things, more functional pathways that these bugs do: lactic acid metabolism, neurotransmitters, amino acid production, vitamin production. They interact with our immune system, not to mention influencing our diets and metabolism and breakdown of carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. So anything you could think of from a performance standpoint, the bugs in our gut and our microbiome does. This is something FitBiomics is really excited to do is, again, let's work with elite athletes. Let's work with super performers, the most fit people in the world. Let's decode their biology, their microbiomes, to see what's unique and enriched in them. And then can we translate that into consumer products to benefit not just athletes, but the masses. And when we talk about bacteria, microbiomes, and beneficial bacteria, what we're really talking about are probiotics. So again, FitBiomics decoding elite microbiomes to translate it to next generation probiotics. There's a lot of academic research going on in this field. We spent some time at Harvard doing this, published some papers, and we've also identified a lot of next generation probiotic microorganisms. And this goes from athlete variations on lactobacillus and bifidobacterium species to even new things in species altogether like Nella that eat lactic acid and promote endurance in preclinical studies. Of course, I think the name of the game in microbiome research and probiotics is not just sequencing and decoding understanding, it's actually translating that to something that's a tangible product and meaningful for broader communities. So again, FitBiomics has spent a lot of time over the past few years taking our learnings from academia, translating that into actual next generation capsules that we've been prototyping and beta testing and actually getting ready to launch and commercialize. We've built sort of a community testing some of these unique proprietary athlete-derived strains. And we've been seeing all sorts of really cool information and feedback from consumers in terms of benefits, not only in just digestion, but also energy, quality of sleep, and recovery. And again, this notion of microbiomes, gut health, probiotics that are now improving consumer performance and health and well-being. So I'll just kind of finish with a couple of slides here. I spoke a little about the science, but just from a consumer opportunity, this is kind of interesting right now. If we look at the status quo and like active nutrition and what's really out there, it's kind of like, hey, let's either, eat a Chobani or drink a Gatorade with like nothing in between. So, really, I think there's a huge opportunity with microbiome research, and what FitBiomics is pioneering is a new functional category of these next generation probiotics to support the active lifestyle of fitness-minded consumers. These are some of the numbers just in the US alone of how many active people there are. And again, working with and decoding the biology of superheroes, seeing what works in them and translating that into next generation probiotics that could benefit a lot of folks. And just in terms of the applications and who is this for, there's a wide range of folks, and it's not just elite athletes. Yes, FitBiomics endeavors to work with elite athletes and support them and sort of learn a lot, but really we see this, as a wellness generation, and this constitutes fitness enthusiasts, this constitutes weekend warriors, health seekers. These are folks not necessarily in the NBA, but people that, are on Peloton or Equinox or CrossFit or road runners. We've learned a lot from consumer demographics and insights, people that are interested in our technology and our products. Half of the folks we work with exercise on a daily basis. Another 40% of them exercise 3 to 5 times a week. And their number one goal for this exercise is staying healthy and staying fit. So they're looking for nutritional modalities that are going to support their active lifestyles and help them be the best version of themselves. So I'll kind of wrap there. Recently, FitBiomics is signed to announce that after years of this R&D and discoveries and publications and prototyping, beta testing, unveiling the world's first sort of athlete-derived probiotic and next generation probiotic. This is our consumer-facing brand and name and how we're translating technology into these capsules for consumer performance and health. Certainly the name and look is rooted in our discoveries and technology, but this is supposed to be, really bridging the gap, and using sort of microbiome technology to really disrupt consumer health and performance and really the evolution and the new frontier. And I'll just say, there's a huge opportunity in this space, and quite frankly, we're just getting started, and it's been a really exciting time.